So we will dedicate our session to His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, who is the founder Acharya of ISKCON. And I would like to pay my obeisances to His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj and His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj. So we are on chapter 11th of Bhagavad Gita. It is titled as Universal Form and it has 55 verses. And we further divide this chapter into 7 sections. So last time we did first 2 sections from verse number 1 to 8, in which we saw that after Krishna, in the 10th chapter, he mentioned his various opulences. And in the last verse, Krishna said that why you want to know about this in detail? With a single fragment of myself, I pervade each and everything. So after this, now Arjuna wanted to know how, in which form Krishna does that, how he pervades everything. So he requests Krishna to show that form in which he is pervading every aspect of this universe. So Arjuna requests Krishna humbly. He just not demand from Krishna. He says, if I can behold, you show that universal form to me. And in that request, Lord Krishna gives a glimpse of that universal form to Arjuna in verse number 5 to 8. Like he prepares him what he is going to see in this form. And then he says that you cannot see this with your normal eyes. So I will give you some divine eyes through which you can have darshan of this universal form. So verse number 8 ended with that. Now in 9 to 14, the camera goes back to Sanjay and Dhritarashtra. Now Sanjay says, after saying this, Krishna will displace the universal form. And what Arjuna saw, Sanjay is describing it to Dhritarashtra in his own words. What his realization was, like he was explaining this to Dhritarashtra. And verse number 15 to 31, now Arjuna, when he saw the universal form, first he will describe what he saw. Then after that description, it will change into like he will be very much astonished, bewildered, and his this description will change to glorification. He will start glorifying that universal form. And after glorifying, he will pay obeisances to universal form and then offer some prayers. So this way, verse number 15 to 31 goes. And from 30 to 34, Krishna replies, at the end of this 31st verse, Arjuna asked Krishna that, who are you and what is your mission? So in answer to that, Krishna replies in 32 verse that time I am. You please become my instrument. Then in 35 to 46, Arjuna will offer prayers to the universal form. And last is 47 to 55, which will show that pure bhakti is necessary for seeing any form of Krishna. Even in this universal form, Krishna showed it to Arjuna, who was his pure devotee. So bhakti is essential when we want to have darshan of Krishna in any of his forms. Sanjay describes Arjuna's vision of the universal form in 9 to 14 verses. So it is divided into 2 parts. 9 to 12 will describe that Sanjay says Arjuna saw unlimited mouths, eyes, unlimited faces, so many weapons, and many wonderful visions, which was very effulgent in that form of Krishna. And in 13 to 14, Sanjay says that when Arjuna sees everything in the universe at one place, Arjuna now bows down before that universal form, and some physical changes also happens, which will be described in these 2 verses. This is the first verse for today. Anybody would like to recite this?
I will read, Mataji.
Yes.
Sanjaya uvacha evam uktva tato rajan mahayogeshwaro hari darshayamasa parthaya paramam rupam aishwaram. Sanjaya said, O king, having spoken thus, the supreme lord of all mystic power, the personality of Godhead, displayed his universal form to Arjuna.
Thank you, Ashpu. So here we say that now Sanjay is saying to Dhritarashtra, king here refers to Dhritarashtra, Rajan is Dhritarashtra. After speaking like, I'm going to show you this universal form, behold my universal form. And now Krishna is now displaying that universal form. And here for Krishna, what is used? Yogeshwara Hari. He is the Lord of all mystic powers. We see that many mystics can do some mysticism. They can become shorter than shortest or bigger than bigger. And there are so many mystic powers. But it is said that Krishna is Mahayogeshwara. He is the Lord of all this mysticism. And that Krishna now is going to display his universal form to Arjuna. Now here it is said that Sanjay also had that vision which was given by Vyasdev. Vyasdev gave him that vision that he can see what is going on in that Kurukshetra field, and so that he can describe that to Dhritarashtra. Now Sanjay is not present there. He is just describing what Arjuna saw in that universal form. So he is trying his best to describe that to Dhritarashtra. But we know, like here, Sanjay will try his best to describe, but still we know that words cannot describe everything. Vision, what we see or what we experience, it cannot be put into words always. Okay? Because we have already learned this, that we have limited senses, and through our limited senses we can never describe which is unlimited. So we will see that this universal form has also unlimited things in it, unlimited mouth, and in the next word it will be anek will be used again. So many forms, so many faces, so many mouths will be visible in that form. So here Sanjay is just trying to give a mental picture, just a picture of that great revelation which Krishna showed to Arjuna. Somebody would like to read this?
Hare Krishna. Arjuna saw in that universal form unlimited mouths, unlimited eyes, unlimited wonderful visions. The form was decorated with many celestial ornaments and bore many divine unprized weapons. He wore celestial garlands and garments, and many divine scents were smeared over his body. All was wondrous, brilliant, unlimited, all expanding.
Thank you, Ramya. So Sanjay is saying that in that universal form, there were unlimited mouths, unlimited eyes, unlimited wonderful vision, which Arjuna saw. And this form had many celestial ornaments, many weapons were seen in that. And all these forms which were visible in that universal form were wearing garlands, various garments were seen. And then divine scents were also smeared over these visions, or this form were, like it is said that when Krishna or somebody is divine, it is we offer some scents to that universal form. So he could feel that these divine personalities which are seen in this universal form are smeared with this scents and like sandalwood paste and all these things. And so many adjectives are used by Sanjay describing that universal form. Like that form was very wonderful, it was brilliant, it was unlimited, and it was like all extended. There was no limit to it, no end, no beginning or no middle to it. So this way, Sanjay tried to describe that universal form to Dhritarashtra. And in 12, 13, and 14, now in the 12th verse, Sanjay is trying to compare the effulgence of that universal form to something. He says that if suppose thousands and hundreds of suns rise at one time, what will be the effulgence? Similar to that, this universal form is effulgent. It's so effulgent, he's trying to compare it to some imaginary phenomena, like thousands of suns if rise together, what the light it will be. So similar kind of effulgence was coming from that universal form. And at that time, Arjuna could see unlimited expansions of the universe situated in one place, although divided into many, many thousands. So here it is said that today, modern day scientists, they cannot know what is going on in the other part of the universe. What to speak of that? If we are sitting in one room, we cannot know what is happening in the other room. But here, Arjuna is sitting on that chariot, and Krishna is displaying that universal form, and sitting at one place, Arjuna could see whatever is happening in each and every part of the universe and one vision, sitting in one place. So that was the potency of that universal form. And after seeing this universal form of Krishna, what happened? Arjuna became bewildered. He was so much astonished. And in that astonishment, in that ecstasy, some physical reactions happening, like hair stand on his hand, goosebumps happened to him. And he was like now overwhelmed with wonder, seeing this wonderful form. And immediately, his relationship of friendship with Krishna, it changed to relationship of wonder. And he started bowing his head to offer obeisances to Krishna, and he started praying to that universal form. So here it is explained in the purport that when like Krishna is Arjuna's friend, okay, and till now he had accepted him as his guru, and he was hearing instructions from him. And Krishna described various opulences and everything in the last chapter, and he accepted the supremacy of Krishna. He told Param Brahma Pramadham everything in the 10.11 verse. And now here, but after seeing this wondrous and extraordinary universal form, he was he thought that it is so wonderful form, and he was not able to take it. And then he immediately, that relationship changed to offering obeisances to that form. And he started praying to the Supreme Lord, which he had not done till now. And related to this, it is described in the purport by Prabhupada that there can be 12 type of relationship within two living entities in this material world also, within living entity and God, and between gods. So these primary relationship we know, these are 5. Shantaras, Dasyaras, Sakhyaras, Vatsalyaras, and Madhuryaras. We have discussed this before. These are the primary relationship which are present even in this material form, but in the reflected form. In the spiritual world, they are present in purity. And they are relationship between the soul and the super soul, these 5 rasas. But other than these, there are even different rasas which Krishna wants to experience with his devotees at certain point of time, like Hasyaras. He want to be humorous with his devotees at times, or Adbhutaras, that is this wonderful which he saw in the universal form. Veeraras, like he wanted to fight with Bhishma Dev, so that way he wanted to taste that Veeraras. And then Karuna, sometimes he's very sympathetic towards his devotees. Then Raudra, sometimes he displays his anger towards his devotees, so that is called Raudra Rasa. And Bhivatsa Rasas is like disaster. If something is like he wants to destroy everything, so that is a Bhivatsa Rasa. And Bhaya, sometimes he creates fear, that relationship of fear is there. Or sometimes we can say that Yashoda Maya, he feels like fear of Yashoda Maya when she comes with a stick and all. So these are the different types of relationship which Krishna wants to enjoy with his devotees. And we can see all these relationships between living entities also in this material world. So the significance of explaining this relationship here is there, that after seeing the universal form, the relationship of friendship was overwhelmed with wonder. And Arjuna started paying obeisances to that universal form. So after this Sanjay's explanation and description, the second section starts. So till now, any questions?
Mataji, in 10.8, I think, Krishna gave Arjuna the vision, like Divyam Dadami Te Chakshu. And then Arjuna was able to withhold Krishna's, this universal form. However, there were so many other warriors in the battlefield who were not given this divine vision, so they were not able to see. So, just can you elaborate how Sanjay got this vision and he was able to see what Arjuna could see at the battlefield?
Okay. Yes, it is mentioned in the later verses, like in the purport, that nobody else on the battlefield was able to see that universal form because divine vision was given only to Arjuna. And later it will be explained, but still residents of other planets like demigods, some demigods here and there, they were also able to see this universal form of Krishna, and they also got perturbed seeing that form. So residents of celestial planets who were also provided that divine vision by Krishna so that they could see. But regarding Sanjay, it is said that Sanjay had been already given a divine vision by Vyasadeva. He could see everything which is going on in that battlefield. So he already had, otherwise how could he see what is going on in the Kurukshetra war? And similarly, we believe that Sanjay was also able to see that universal form at that time which Arjuna was seeing. Anything else you want to say? Like that only, because he already had been given that divine vision, and he had to explain each and everything which he saw in the universal form to Dhritarashtra. So
but way, other than them, no one else in the battlefield
could see. This is only explained wherever we go.
Okay.
So now, after seeing this universal form, what Arjuna experiences, which is described in 15 to 31 verses. So if we further divide it into 4, from 15 to 19, we will see what Arjuna realizes upon seeing this universal form. He feels that it's very difficult to behold. And then he started glorifying Krishna. Krishna's supremacy, he will explain. So now, and from 19 to 25, there is a description of Kala Rupa. Krishna, this universal form, is a form of time. And Arjuna will glorify that there is no origin to it, middle to it, and to it. It's spread everywhere. It is unlimited strength. And demigods are also offering prayers to it. And in the end, Arjuna becomes little fearful. And he asks Krishna, please be gracious to me. Please be merciful to me. You withdraw this form of yours. I'm becoming disturbed. My mental balance is losing. I'm losing my mental balance. Then verse number 26 to 30, Arjuna sees the future outcome of the war, and he sees that various warriors are entering all the devouring mouth of this Vishwarupa. So you remember that when Krishna was like describing about the universal form, he was like orienting Arjuna. That time also he said that you, whatever you wish to see, whether present, future, or past, you will be able to see in this form. At that time, Krishna indicated that you will be able to see what is the result of that form. So now Arjuna sees that all warriors, Bhishma, Drona, Karna, all are entering in the mouth of this universal form, and their heads are being smashed within the teeth of this universal form. So he sees the future outcome that everybody will meet an end, even Bhishma Dev. So he literally sees that in the universal form. And then after seeing this Kal Rupa, in the 30th verse, Arjuna asks, who are you? What is your mission? He asked. And then Krishna replies from 32 onwards that I am time. Okay, I have come here to destroy each and everything. So like that, the third session begins with 11.15. So Arjuna, after seeing this, he says, I see assembled in your body all the demigods and various other living entities. I see Brahma sitting on the lotus flower, as well as Lord Shiva, all the sages, divine serpents. So all these things Arjuna sees in the universal form. He's seeing serpents means Anantashesh, means Mahavishnu lying down, Garbhadaksha Vishnu lying down on that Anantashesh. Then he's seeing Brahmaji, lotus flower, all the demigods and their planets, all the planetary systems, and Vasuki serpent, Anantashesh, everything and various other living entities, whatever 84 lakh species of living entities, he was able to see in that universal form. Then he says, O Lord of the universe, O universal form, I see in your body many, many arms, bellies, mouths, eyes. You are expanded everywhere. There is no limit to it. You have no end, middle, and no beginning. Similar to what first Arjuna had, Krishna has described, and Sanjay. And Krishna also has given an orientation in the verse number 5 to 8 about this, that you will see many, many arms, bellies, and things. So, and then he says this form is very difficult to behold. Your form is difficult to see. I so effulgent that Sanjay has also describes. It was so effulgent as thousands of suns has rise at one time. It is spreading all sides and it's emitting blazing fire from the mouth. And I see this form everywhere. It is adorned with so many crowns, clubs, discs, because he could see so many demons, devotees, all together at one place, and they were wearing so many crowns. They were having so many instruments, even in their hands. So all these things he could see in that form. Anybody would like to recite this verse? We actually...
Yeah, I'll recite. Tvam aksharam paramam veditvayam Tvam asya vishwasya param nidhanam Tvam avyayah shashvata dharma gupta Sanatanas tvam purusho mato me. You are the supreme primal objective. You are the ultimate resting place of all the universe. You are inexhaustible and you are the oldest. You are the maintainer of the eternal religion, the personality of Godhead. This is my opinion.
Thank you. So here we see, after describing, here now Arjuna started glorifying the universal form. So description has changed into glorification. So that's why we gave you this verse to recite, because it glorifies this universal form. He's saying you are the supreme primal objective, ultimate resting place of all this universe. You are inexhaustible. We have already discussed this attributes of Krishna in the previous chapters. You are the oldest, Adi, Devam, Ajam, Vibhum, and all these things. You are maintainer of the eternal religion. This is my opinion. So this is the glorification of this universal form by Arjuna. And again, Arjuna says, you are without origin, middle, or end. Your glory is unlimited. You have numberless arms and sun and moon are your eyes. I see you with blazing fire coming forth from your mouth, burning this entire universe by your own radiance. So we may think like here, why there is repetition? Already Arjuna has said this, you have no origin and middle and end, unlimited glory, you are inexhaustible. So here he says, and when devotees, they see any form of Krishna, they are in ecstasy. And in that ecstasy, sometimes repetition is there. When we want to glorify God, Krishna's glories are unlimited. And we can glorify him number of times, so many number of times. With the same, we can use the same words to glorify Krishna. So similarly, Arjuna here is again repeating here the glorification of Krishna. So we may think like we are so limited. How can we glorify the unlimited? No, we always have limited senses. We cannot glorify Krishna, and we have already learned that Krishna's glories are so unlimited that it cannot be like glorified by us. But still, why do we glorify Krishna or we glorify Bhagavatam and all? Because that is for our own purification. Krishna accepts what we glorify, and in return, he purifies us. So even though we may not be able to describe the glories of Krishna to the fullest, we should try our best, because that is for our own purification. And that's why Arjuna is repeatedly glorifying Krishna in ecstasy. Again, the same thing. You are one. You are spread throughout the sky and planets, all the space between. O great one, seeing this wondrous and terrible form, all the planetary systems are perturbed. So this verse indicates that residents of the other planetary systems were also able to see this form of Krishna, because it's mentioned, seeing this wondrous and terrible form, all the planetary systems were also disturbed. So this verse is the first verse which indicates that some other residents of other planetary systems were able to see this form of Krishna. And then in this verse, Arjuna says, all the host of demigods are surrendering before him. He sees that demigods are praying, offering prayers to Mahavishnu or something. We see that they go to Shir Sagar and they pray, they pray to Mahavishnu, Brahmaji, Shiv, everybody is going and then they are offering and surrendering their praise to Krishna. Then, but he sees that some of them are afraid and they are with folded hands offering prayer to you. They are disturbed. Then host of great sages and perfected beings, they are all crying, Swasti, Swasti, there should be peace, there should be peace. And they are singing various Vedic hymns in your glorification. All these visions were visible to Arjuna. And in these verses also, he describes the astonishment of these demigods. All the various manifestations of Lord Shiva, the Adityas, the Vasus, the Sandhyas, the Vishwadevas, the two Ashwini Kumars, the Maruts, the forefathers, the Gandharvas, the Yakshas, Asuras, and the perfected demigods are beholding you in wonder. They are also affected by this rasa of wonder. So they are also like very much astonished and perturbed seeing this universal form of yours. O mighty Ambam, all the planets with their demigods are disturbed at seeing your great form, which has many faces, eyes, arms, thighs, legs, and bellies, and your many terrible teeth. As they are disturbed, so am I. All these great personalities are getting disturbed by seeing this form. Similarly, I am also getting disturbed. So now Arjuna will request Krishna. In verse number 24, he says, seeing you with many radiant colors touching the sky, your gaping mouth, and your great glowing eyes.
O all-pervading Vishnu, seeing you with your many radiant colors touching the sky, your gaping mouths, and your great glowing eyes, my mind is perturbed by fear. I can no longer maintain my steadiness or equilibrium of mind.
So he's saying that now we may say that he was little fearful of this form of Krishna, and he was not able to maintain his mental equilibrium. And he's saying, O refugee of the worlds, please be gracious to me. Please show your mercy upon me. I cannot keep my balance seeing this, your blazing death-like faces and awful teeth in all directions. I'm getting bewildered. I'm afraid. Because what Arjuna saw, they are emitting fire, and in the teeth of this universal form, all these heads of all these demons are being smashed and all these things. These types of visions were making Arjuna a little bit fearful. And in these verses, what Arjuna saw the outcome of the war. He sees that all the sons of Dhritarashtra, along with their allied kings, whoever were there in the party of Duryodhana, along with that, he sees Bhishma, Drona, Karna, and our chief soldiers also. This means that many warriors of Pandavas will also meet destruction in this war, are rushing into your fearful mouths. And some I see trapped with heads smashed between your teeth. This was vision of Arjuna. So now he came to know that all will meet death, whether it is Bhishma, Drona. And he came to know that his team will win this war. So now in the next two verses, we see there are two metaphors or two comparisons. As the many waves of the river flow into the ocean, so do all these great warriors enter, blazing into your mouths. And the second comparison is, I see all people rushing full speed into your mouth as moths dash to destruction in a blazing fire. So it is explained by our acharyas that in This Kal Rupa, this form of Krishna, it is meant for destruction. At the end, everything will be destroyed. We know at the time of Pralaya, nothing remains. So destruction is also a part of manifestation of Krishna. We cannot separate destruction from Krishna. It is inevitable. Okay. Sometimes we may think like God should be always good. He should always do good. Why he's destroying this? Why all these things? Why all these warriors are seen going into his mouth? But we know that destruction cannot be separated from the reality. Okay. We also know that why Krishna destroys. Krishna destroys the temporary things, the temporary material world he destroys, so that we can turn our face towards eternity. So that is the purpose behind Krishna destroying the things which are not necessary. So here the comparisons are explained by Acharyas that in this mouth of the universal form, Bhishma and Drona are also going. So that can be compared to the waves of river flowing to the ocean. When rivers are flowing into the ocean, that is a natural thing. They have to go into the ocean. They have to meet the ocean. So these Bhishma and Drona, though they were on the side of Duryodhana, but they were like by the arrangement of, by some superior arrangement, they were forced to be on the side of Duryodhana. Bhishma was a great devotee of Lord Krishna, but due to some of his commitments, he could not leave the side of Duryodhana. And that's why, though he was a devotee, he has to meet death. So that has been compared, like the death of the devotees is compared to the rivers flowing into the ocean. They will ultimately go to the spiritual world and they will continue their services there in the same manner they are doing here. So if the devotees die, what does it mean? They will attain a spiritual body and they will serve Krishna as they were serving in this material world. So that's why when rivers go into the ocean, the nature of the river doesn't change. They continue doing the same thing. So this is a comparison for the devotees like Bhishma. And the other comparison is moths. They are going into the blazing fires. What are moths? Moths are like fireflies. They, in the rainy season, their lifespan is very short. And we see them going into the fire and dying off like that. So these moths are voluntarily entering into fire because they are attracted towards fire. So they are meeting their death voluntarily. Similarly, these Duryodhana and the party, they were demonic. They don't want to, they didn't budge even they don't wanted to give one tip of the land to Pandavas. So they wanted to enjoy each and everything for themselves. That's why these demons were smashed and they meet to death by Krishna. So this comparison is why, because these moths are destroying themselves. They are self-destructive. Similarly, the demonic people, they will ultimately destroy themselves. Their soul will not be destroyed. The body will get destroyed. But because they have not done anything good, they have to again take this material body and continue the cycle of birth and death. So that's why Acharyas explain these two comparisons for devotees and demons' death when they meet death. When they meet death in the form of Krishna, in the form of death at the end of the life. O Vishnu, I see you devouring all people from all sides with your flaming mouths, covering all the universe with your effulgence. You are the manifest with terrible scorching rays. So you see this, that everything is being devoured by this universal form of Krishna. And seeing this thing, now Arjuna prays to Krishna. O Lord of Lords, O fierce of form, please tell me who you are. This is the first question. I offer my obeisance unto you. Please be gracious to me. You are the primal Lord. I want to know about you, for I do not know what your mission is. So these two questions he asks. Who are you and what is your mission? So about this Kali Rupa of Krishna, now Krishna will speak and tell Arjuna about these two questions in the next session. So it's mostly about the description of the universal form and what Arjuna saw and he became little perturbed and disturbed. And then he asked these two questions to Krishna. This is the end of the session.
Mataji, anyway, Arjuna accepted Krishna as the Supreme Personality of God in verse number 10.12, and then he also emphasized in 10.13. And once he got the divine eyes, he was able to see the Virat Rupa. But why he has bewildered again? Is it just fear, whatever he is facing, or what is the difference? Is it fear or is it bewilderment?
See, Arjuna has accepted Krishna as supreme and Paramdham, Param Bhavan and everything. So, like here also he is glorifying that form. But that vision of that universal form, what he actually saw, which he could not maybe because we say no, this universal form is an imaginary form, but it's a bona fide imagination.
Bona fide temporary imaginary form.
Bona fide temporary imagination. So when he sees that demigods are also getting disturbed by seeing this terrible smashing of the vision itself, little made him fearful. But later verses will come to know that it was not so much of fear, but more of wonder and astonishment, more of bewilderment. It was more of that rasa instead of fear. So in the later verses, it will be explained that it was not like Arjuna was not afraid of this form in any case. He was not afraid.
Yeah, because if we see in that Narasimha Avatar, everybody is with fear, they ran, and then Prahlad is absolutely fearless since he is the devotee of Lord, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so I was just wondering why a devotee will have fear, first of all.
Narasimha's form is transcendental form.
Yes. That is correct. But for the people who didn't realize it, they are scared, right, Prabhuji? The demigods and all, they are not able to see that transcendental nature of Lord, and they are not able to approach him and not able to pacify his anger.
Even Brahma, Shiva, Lakshmi.
And it may be because here Arjuna want to highlight this Kal Rupa form of universal form. He asked this form, showed this form because of the people in general. Yes. So that the demonic nature of persons who are of demonic nature, those persons who want to show themselves as Krishna, so they can be asked whether you can show this form or not. So that was the reason behind Arjuna asking this form. So it may be for the people in general, that be fearful, at least now become devotees, maybe like that. Maybe
so maybe he even though many times Lord also taken human form, he behaves like a human being. Maybe Arjuna is exhibiting this to the rest of the world, how fearful it is, even though he's not in fear. Maybe he is astonished, or he is in full ecstasy.
Yes. It will be mentioned in the later verses that he was not much afraid, but he was seeing this wonderful form, he was little perturbed. Once, we say now in Hindi, ekdam se ashcharyakit ho jana, and that ashcharya, little bit fear component was also involved, like that.
Never experienced before.
Never experienced before, like that.
Because when he showed his universal form in Hastinapur,
yes,
Bhishma and Drona and others, they were not fearful. Yes. So we'll see, I think so there is a distinction. He showed two forms here. He showed his Virat Rupa as well as Kal Rupa. So Kal Rupa was not shown in Hastinapur.
Yes.
And it is Kal Rupa which
is very fearful. Very
because after explanation of the Kal Rupa only he says, after seeing that smashing and teeth and all these things. So this Kal Rupa will be explained by Krishna now, and there it will be mentioned that he was not much afraid.
And Kal Rupa is seeing Drona, Bhishma and all.
And then he will pray that please withdraw this form. I am satisfied seeing your 400 form and 200 form. Please take this form away. Because it is said now we cannot reciprocate with this form, though it is
Yes.
divine because it is connected with Krishna, but we cannot reciprocate with this type of form. So we don't want to see, devotees don't want to have a darshan of the universal form like that.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Okay.
Harshit Prabhu has some question.
No, I was just, saying,
Comment.
Krishna, yeah, I was just trying to comment, basically. Krishna gave him the vision, basically, and he also explained what he's going to see. But, when Arjuna saw that, probably, and Krishna also mentioned, previously that this is the first time someone is going to see this form. So, as in general, if we are doing something for the first time, if we are doing, or seeing something for the first time, we sometimes get bewildered and fear automatically comes, because that is the fear of unknown. And as Mataji just mentioned, devotees probably don't want to see this form, which is completely different. And this is so funny, Arjuna requesting Krishna after understanding he is the, Supreme Lord. He's asking him to show the Virat Roop. And now he is again requesting Krishna to, oh, please, come back to your original form. That is so interesting.
Yeah, understood, Harshit Prabhuji. I think it's mainly to show the exhibit his supremacy practically to the common man. He has asked, and now he has to withdraw.
Yeah, and I think I was just listening to one of the videos from Amog Lila Prabhu, wherein he mentioned a very important point. In Kali Yuga, there would be a lot of, Babajis who would come and they would say that I am God. So, one can check by asking them, if you are God, show me the Virat Rupa.
Yes.
And nobody would be able to do that. So this is also something, as just Mataji mentioned, that,
Yeah, she has explained.
During the attributes of the, mentality of people of Kali Yuga, no one can actually claim to be, as equal to Krishna. Maybe no one can claim to be Krishna, basically.
Yes, Prabhupada explained these two reasons. First reason is that people may think that Krishna is only saying these things, that he is supreme. So to show them that no, he personally displayed that supremacy. So that is one reason. And the second reason is, if somebody claims to be God, to keep their mouth shut. He has displayed this. So these are the two reasons.
Show it in practice how you are God.
Yes. That was the reason. He himself didn't want to see. He himself knows that Krishna is supreme. Okay. Anything else? We'll end this session.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.